Summation of Plum Island. PPP. Waypoint. Final stop of MK vicinity. ARM vicinity. It was the Peter Pan programming island. And that's the reason why kids back then were afraid to rip that green Peter Pan label off of anything, because they were told that everybody they knew would be killed if they did. So I remember ripping that thing off and throwing it in the garbage all the time because it would trigger me when I'd see it. So there was an Anunnaki ship that came to Plum Island, and that was in the sky. It looked like a green lantern door in the sky. That was just the ship's door, and a green line ascending up to it. Where you go to the happy place, the Green Mile. Kids went up into the ship. They were in a Peter Pan stupor, enchantment, thinking they were going to a happy place to fly away, get special powers, get all their wishes and desires fulfilled. Kind of like going up to see the man behind the green curtain to Emerald City, which was just a recycling, reboot, regenesis sky hub, which got vamped up later on. So they were blind in a spell. They were up in the ship. They couldn't see the monsters around them. And basically they met in a throne chair with a red carpet in front of it, Enki, Lucifer, in a Draco vessel. And he handed them a fruit that looks like a plum that was injected by one of the workers with some type of tech, nanites, whatever they used. And the Draco would give the child this piece after they'd swear sole allegiance to this faction and eat the seed of the Borg. So doing this instantly flipped them into a Jekyll and Hyde personality split, and they came down thinking visions of grandeur and basically denying God, thinking that they were God themselves. And it was an attempt to upbraid DNA. And this looked like a battle with heaven and hell up there in the contrast, as the enemy was doing his spellbinding and dark-arted miracles up and down that Green Mile. The Lord was doing his miracles, his own set of things down by the shore for the kids who chose not to do that. So what they do is they put these kids on a platform right by the shore that had some sharks and crocodiles, and they just stand there, and it would slowly sink. So the kids would look out and they would hold a different line than the green line, and the ones that chose to hold the Lord's lifeline, he guided across to the shore to safety. Now this happened really instantaneously. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of space in between, but enough for a child to drown and enough for a child that did get sunk into the water to get taken and eaten. So it was a miracle. And it was the hand of the Father pushing his children to safety so that Satan couldn't have them. Some kids who didn't hold that space, just like in the fisherman parable in the boat, they slipped and fell in the water for a second or sank, but they survived. And these were miracles from on high. And Christ told us we would do things even greater than he has done. And we witnessed it out there. So these types of memories are what they tried to erase the most. You know, and this happens in like car crashes, and miracles happen every day, and how the angels work and come into people's lives on behalf of humanity. You know, a person may feel like they're moved out of place and lost time or got switched somewhere, or in a collision or almost collision, you feel like your soul's being pulled out of your body sometimes. It's a quick shift of multidimensionality and bending of time and space. I mean, if they can do it, obviously the creator of heaven and earth can do it in a blink of an eye. So God is a supernatural God, and we were rewarded basically for standing there, not going up to the ship, not having it, and turning our fear into faith and making him that anchor. And he moved us forward because of that. You're always rewarded for obedience. They became the kids that went up to the Green Mile and kept on staying in that delusion. They became captives, and they never came back. They got infected, the contagion turned them, and they basically turned into hollowed out zombies that the super soldier kids used for target practice later on, because the island turned into this soulless, just a bunch of roaming soulless things, voidless skinwalkers is what we called them at the end, and the mutant Nazi beast dogs in the obstacle course. And what happened in Plum Island also has references to the sugar plum fairies and the Nutcracker, because they tried to crack your mind so badly right from the get-go at that spot. But nobody got their heart's desires. Nobody got ascended into machinery. It was all an illusion. And I was put on that platform that slowly sank in the water, and did see a shark and an alligator around me. And I believe this is why they put the alligator in the Peter Pan movie on a timer, because I wouldn't go up into the Green Lantern door. I saw that different line in the sky and was delivered by the hand of God, and then jumped to the shore without being eaten by those creatures in a second somehow. You don't know how you do it, but it just happens. And that's why the alligator eats the clocks in Peter Pan, and it's called tick-tock, because we thought that we were running out of time when we stand there. They always used a sand glass or a timer, some type of reference to speed our anxiety and make us make snap decisions, the wrong decisions, because they tried to eat your life, basically. It was a time war. But only me and about 4 other kids chose that path. And it was just a constant assault on God's elect. And spiritual warfare at the highest level with the Prince of Hell himself. And this was a huge jump-off point to be plugged into Beast Tech on Ascension Island, a different one. And this is when the zombie culture really started taking off back then. But it's what we came here for. And we pulled some kids out of that mind split. The pixie dust was just red scopolamine dust. And one girl thought she was like the queen of the pixies and rags for clothes, and they wanted Cass to be their leader, and he struggled for a while with it. But he did get off the island too, and got bumped into the mission training and process and protocols by age 10. So our oversouls basically took over sometimes, took over our consciousness. And especially in times of